Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. If you're just joining us, we've been discussing the Greater Milwaukee Foundation's On the Table MKE, which is happening on Thursday, October 10th. It was created by the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, but has been driven by the community. My next guest, they'll fill us in on the unique way that they've decided to participate in this initiative. Maggie Tate-Techtmann, she is the Director of Organizational Development at Humane Animal Welfare Society, also referred to as HAWS, and Tommie Myles is the Executive Director of Woodland School Incorporated. How are you?
Wonderful.
Great. I thank you both for being here. So before we get into how you came together and what you're going to be doing as far as On the Table MKE, want to find out more about HAWS and everything that you do there.
Yeah. So HAWS is the Humane Animal Welfare Society. We are located in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and our mission is to lead the community in animal welfare and assure sanctuary for animals in need. So we are an open admission shelter in Waukesha County, and what that means is we accept animals regardless of health, temperament, and breed. One of the things that's always been really important to our founders back in 1965 when the organization began was this real steadfast commitment to humane values and humane education. What that means is really teaching our youth about kindness and compassion and giving them the tools through kind of using animals as teachers and translating things to get kids to think about, you know, how do I treat animals and what animals can teach us and how that impacts our communities, both on kind of a short term, but also a bigger picture as we build future leaders.
I love it. Okay, and so if you would, Tommie, kind of tell us more about Woodland School and everything that you guys have set up as far as your curriculum.
Sure. Well, Woodland School is formerly known as Alverno Elementary. It started 1936 as a training grounds for the sisters training teachers to teach at Alverno College. Since then has gone into a charter school through UW Milwaukee and has been founded on the practices of character education and multi-age education. It's a K-8 school. We have two campuses, one on Blue Mountain Road and one on State Street. And since the conception of the original campus, the State Street campus opened 7 years ago and is replicating some of the same practices that the Blue Mountain campus has. And one of those are character education. Okay,
and so the State Street campus and HAWS of Waukesha County have decided to kind of come together with the whole concept of On the Table MKE, collaborate, join forces, however you put it, and I am so interested in hearing what you guys have going on and how you're going to bring it to the table.
Yeah. Well, I can start if you want.
Sure.
So really, again, getting back to our founders and this commitment to humane values and humane education and cultivating leadership through teaching kids work with animals and understanding of animals. HAWS has a huge interest in schools that are walking that and practicing that character education. So it's kind of was a natural partnership for the two organizations, seemingly really different organizations, but for the two of us to come together. We did an On the Table event last year as well, where we talked a lot about resiliency in kids and with character education. And then really this is kind of the next step for us, is to kind of talk about it on a deeper level and to talk about, you know, how we can really cultivate those leaders through using animals, animal welfare and those practices, and as well as students and character education.
Okay, so how are the students getting involved with HAWS?
Well, because our curriculum and the culture of the organization is based off of character traits that make people be good humans, being responsible, being caring, being respectful, being good citizens, those types of actions don't always have like lessons that go right along with it.
Yeah.
So what we found in the first On the Table is that, because we had students take part also in the On the Table event, and the feedback was that building resiliency is best when adults model it and students see it used on a regular basis and put it in action, thinking that using animals to model the same caring and empathy and love would be the best way to kind of, I guess, exhibit those character traits.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because there's been a lot written about how empathy is a skill and one that we can cultivate and strengthen with practice. So basically it says when young people learn to care for living things, it definitely helps them build empathy. So we also know from looking at certain cases that individuals who have made history in a not so good way, you know, serial killers, things of that nature, unfortunately, their relationship with living things was almost an indication that compassion and empathy was absent, and from a young person to that adult, it never formed.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we've been doing at HAWS is for years we've offered kids camps and we've been doing kids clubs throughout the school year, but really thinking about how we can be going into classrooms on a regular basis. We have a No More Bullying curriculum where we're going into schools and working with kids to kind of give them the tools that you know exactly what you're speaking about. Some of the impact from last year when we talked specifically about Woodlands is it really, I think, gave us an opportunity as two organizations to think about, you know, how can we kind of continue this discussion around resiliency and really start to put it into action. We've made a couple of visits to Woodlands with animals to kindergarten classrooms to talk about how can we make this animal feel safe and really also, you know, teaching consent. You know, does this animal, here are the signs that an animal wants to be pet. Does this animal want to be pet right now? And kind of, you know, thinking about it, it seems so silly, like,
no, it
but
makes sense.
You know, it really was impactful, I think, for the students. And then
learning how to read signals, not just from people, but you know, these animals as well, because they will let you know when they don't want to be bothered, and it's best to follow that signal.
Absolutely.
But these pets also teach responsibility. Would you agree? So they do realize that, you know, having animals in their presence, they're not just there. These animals need water, food, somebody to walk them, play with them, and all those are responsibilities that you have when you actually have one in your home, right?
Yes, absolutely. The other thing that we've done is we've been able to work with some of the upper grade students at Woodlands and really talk about, as we're beginning to expand our programs and really take a look at all of this character-based education and cultivating these humane values in kids. We've been able to work with the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students at Woodlands to really ask them, what are you doing in the classroom now that you would love to do, you know, out at the shelter in the practice of animals, and really kind of incorporating those Common Core standards, those STEAM activities into things that we're doing that focus on animals, but really tie in nicely to the character-based education and getting them out of the classroom and giving them those hands-on experiential learning.
And giving them opportunities to exhibit their leadership as well, because the older grades will go back to the younger grades and actually give the same lessons that were taught as far as being aware of the social cues and you know, teaching is learning, and making sure that happens.
And when we talk about animals, and I know you will really relate to this, there's a study that showed that kids turn to pets for emotional well-being. 40% of children choosing pet companionship when they feel down, and then you've got just studies that show caring for pets aids in improving school attendance and teaching children, like I said, about responsibilities. So even having some type of living animal in the classroom helps as well. Do you guys have any animals? I know we used to have like rabbits and gerbils and things.
Well, absolutely. Our 7A classroom has they have 2 guinea pigs. And interesting.
Do you know their names, Tommy?
I do not know their names, but I do know that they use their feces to turn it into a fertilizer to grow plants. So through STEAM activities, they learn how to actually produce that. And our 5-6 unit has a rabbit named Charlie. I know that. And,
no, I didn't know. I was teasing you really bad.
But also that the idea of in the city, children, and me growing up in the city of Milwaukee, in the inner city of Milwaukee, growing up and being afraid of animals in some cases, because there is a tendency for some people to breed animals to be like aggressive and to protect. And understanding that that's not always the case. There are a lot of times where people are running away from animals, and this is more so, hey, that's a living thing that has feelings and needs love as well.
Yeah, and I have met so many people, they had that one incident when they were young, and they just want no parts of, even as an adult, that's what stuck with them. So it is important for people to realize that, you know, animals love people and people love animals, and you know, it could be a nice little companionship for sure. But pets also build self-esteem, would you agree?
Absolutely. And I think that again gets at kind of their responsibility and the kids kind of being able to see that reciprocal relationship with an animal where, you know, they give you so much, but you also give them so much. And I think it's just kind of that.
And it's unconditional on so many levels.
Yes, which makes them really wonderful teachers too, is that if you know, if a student is training a dog and makes a mistake and gives them the wrong cue or something, the dog is fine with that. We'll start over happily kind of thing. So I think that also teaches kids resiliency and helps probably build their self-esteem as well.
And the animal is dependent on the human as well. So the dependency of it, meaning that if you don't feed the dog, they can't go get it itself. Or they will and actually damage some things if you don't do it correctly.
So when you bring all of this to talk about it on the table, MKE, let's kind of talk a little bit more about some of the things that you're hoping to discuss once this whole project has taken place.
Yeah. So I think our goal really this year is kind of from the catalyst of last year. You know, we saw this impact of kind of everyone walked away and had a really good feeling, but also moving along the lines of really looking at our programming and how we can expand our programming to impact more people. We're impacting leaders kind of on a daily basis, but also building, you know, towards that community improvement and really creating leaders that are humane. But specifically looking at this year, having students join us again and really have this in-depth discussion about some of the programming and what we are doing with some of the specific value traits and how we can relate it, and how really the two have a very wonderful symbiotic relationship, being animal welfare and character education.
Also making sure that the adults recognize that the importance of their modeling and their intentionality, and they're being very deliberate in their interactions with students, so that they know that they are mirrors of what the need is in the community. So if love needs to be demonstrated, they need to do the same and actually show it in all the types of manners that are necessary.
Yeah, and so what kind of feedback have you been getting from the kids in you know, their opportunity to, you know, be around all the different animals?
The greatest thing that I saw was nonverbal. It was very nonverbal. Even the more, the more outgoing become so docile and become so loving in their whole demeanor when they're actually interacting with some of the animals. And some of the students that I just know that don't really talk a lot were very engaged with, like, some of the rabbits and then the cats. And cats are always like very, very, very symbolic of being just very chill and very cool.
Yeah,
and
they
very,
got their own thing going.
Right.
And they'll be bothered if they want.
Right. They don't really need you, but you know they do. And then they know
not
that.
really.
Right, but you know they give you just enough to kind of actually draw you in, and that, I think that is captivating for some students for a longer period of time.
Just really seeing the different personalities of all the animals, because whereas, you know, like we say stereotypically, cats are kind of like, hey, I'll see you later. Going on vacation, just leave me enough of everything, I'm good.
Exactly.
Dogs are kind of like, hi, you know. So, but then there are animals that just really have that distinct personality that stands out on its own, and that really shows that there is a link between humans and animals, and you know, it just is that way.
Right.
Yeah, and
well,
that's what I love.
Well, even with the shelter, knowing that some of the animals have been through some things, and
trauma, just like kids and people. It's true.
And they have loving spirits as well, and they just need a loving environment to draw that out.
That's what it's all about. So thank you all so much for sharing everything that you have going on for On the Table MKE, and I'm hoping that you guys have a really good conversation on October 10th. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Maggie Tate-Techtmann, she's the Director of Organizational Development at Humane Animal Welfare Society, also referred to as HAWS, and Tommie Myles, he is the Executive Director of Woodland School, Inc. Again, for more information on Greater Milwaukee Foundation's On the Table MKE initiative, you can visit onthetable.mke.org. That's going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, thank you for watching, and I do hope you join us again next week as we take another look at Our Issues Milwaukee. Have a great day.